Good morning to one and all. Good morning to one and all the persons who are present here. Before we start this session, I would like to express hearty thanks to all the participants for taking out time and attending this webinar. I would like I would also humbly request all the participants to mute themselves and refrain from writing on the screen during the session. Through you can post your questions, suggestions in the chat box window. Thank you. I, Poornima, the faculty of Computer Science Engineering Department, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for this webinar on GitHub. I would welcome Honorable Secretary Ma'am, Ms. Rajeshri Garu, Principal Sir, Dr.Venkata Seshaiah Naidu Garu, Vice Principal, Corporate Relation and Training Placement, Mrs. Lakshmi Kalam Garu, our esteemed speaker, Mr. Pranay, and all participants of the webinar. As a member of Rishi family, I would like to tell you about Rishi Institution that is located in the heart of the city near JNTH Metro Station, Hyderabad. Rishi MS Institute of Engineering and Technology for Women was established in 2009 in the memory of Bharata Ratna Mrs. S.SUKERTHI Garu. It is ISO 9001-2015 certified and ISO 14001-2015 certified. Rishi Institute is functioning under the able stewardship and guidance of founder chairman late Sri P. Vaman Rao Garu. Is a former director, information of public relation firms and tourism. He is a joint secretary of Andhra Pradesh government, who formerly served as a chief executive at Birla Group of Industries. And also, he was a chairman in many audit committee and member of various committees on the board of HIL. The management of Rishi aims to contribute to society in pursuit of creating a professional management education center as the best place to enhance the abilities of learning skills in students at a high level of excellence. I can proudly say that during the past 31 years, Rishi educational institutions have literally turned into a rising sun of knowledge and success and most sought after institution among the women students. All this would be incomplete without the introduction. All this would be incomplete without the introduction of the pillar of Rishi Group of Institution, none other than our Secretary Ma'am, Ms. Rajeshri Garu. She is one of the founder member of Rishi UBR Educational Institutions, and also she is a member in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan School Committee. She is one of the panel member of STS-NET to produce film on education, art, culture for Mana TV. She is an achiever of Vikas Ratna Gold Medal Award from International Integration Society, New Delhi. Along with a list of achievements, she is a sociologist who promotes women empowerment and is supporting many orphanages in Hyderabad. I would also take an opportunity to throw some light on achievements of Rishi. Here are some achievements. I am very proud to tell about the achievements of Rishi because I am the family member of Rishi. We have CIA membership for industry collaboration. There are ongoing IIT Hyderabad research project on IoT, AIML within our Rishi premises. Rishi has MSME incubation cell under supervision of our extreme man. This year, out of 78 innovative ideas, 20 ideas are submitted to the Government of India Development Funds. We are also in the final round of Smart India Hackathon for delivering an AI-based hardware. 21 of our Rishi students are building prototype in IoT and AI in ISB program. Rishi also adds to the list AICT International South June 2019 awarded. We at Rishi also welcome ideas from outside to provide 100% guarantee to take your ideas to next level by giving right industry and bank advisory. Recently, we have conducted series of successful webinars on advanced robotics, Python, AI and blockchain, and ICT and IoT based learning and teaching. Today's webinar is GitHub. GitHub is a repository. It allows your work to get out in front of the public. Moreover, it is one of the largest coding communities around. So, using it, we can provide wide exposure for your project and for you. GitHub is one of the largest coding communities around right now. So, it's wide exposure for your project. Over the past year, 10 million new developers joined the GitHub community, contributing to 44 million plus repositories across every content of the earth on the earth. The next generation of developers is in school around the world, and this year more than 760K are learning on GitHub. The total students have learned to code on GitHub 55% more than last year. Total teachers have used GitHub in their courses to teach real-world developer workflows 33% more than last year. This year, we have seen that not only do companies use GitHub, they also contribute to open source and take part in the developer community. Almost 70% of global Fortune 50 companies have made contribution to open source in the last year. 2.9 million plus organizations brought up people together in public and private repositories. GitHub Enterprise Cloud users only users alone worked in organizations from 70 plus different countries around the world this year. So today, on this topic, we have with us a very esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Pranay. Pranay is a multi-skilled developer with compositive experience of designing, developing, deploying application architecture. And he achieved so many achievements. We'll see the achievements also. Evaluated design alternatives and performed cost-benefited analysis, managed the software development cycle, including research, architecture, development, testing, release, upgrades. And here are his recent projects. CEC New Delhi 2017 is the completely migrated for 5,000 latency flash-based tutorials to latest technologies, which is aimed to help 10 million students to have easy and convenient access to quality education. Next one, ISU JEDU CIMS. This is in 2009, involved in implementation of customer CRM on iPhone and Android apps using cutting-edge mobile application development framework Flutter for Isuzu East Africa Limited, which resulted in overall customer engaged and satisfaction. Speed Exam AI Proctoring, designed and implemented a proctoring real-time AI which analyzes live video streams of online tests to detect fraud, which resulted in increase of all over product sales. Now, his talks today is entitled with the title GitHub. Sir, we are very privileged that you have got this. We have got this opportunity to listen you today. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing very good. A quick thing. I'm going to give you a small question. Before that, there are a few people joining in the meeting. I'm trying to admit them. So, ma'am, do you want me to add everyone who joins the meeting? Because
no, Pranay, we'll take care of that. You can proceed, please.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. So you're managing the admissions into the meeting, right?
Yes, we are three available for that.
Well, good morning, everyone, and hope you can all hear my voice clearly. Please confirm if everything is clear.
Not yet, Pranay. We are not able to see your screen.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Yeah. All right, great. So, well, hope you guys can see my screen now.
Yes.
All right, sure.
Partially, we are able to see the blue screen. I mean, the desktop also.
Yeah. All right. So you should be able to see it now. Well,
Yes.
okay. All right. So there's some delay over there. Anyways, today we're going to discuss all about uh, Git version control system. So the first thing, before I really get into the topics, I would like to tell you what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes. So first, let's try to create a website, and let's see how it can be done using traditional way before Git existed. I would not say before Git existed, but let's create a website without using GitHub or version control system or anything sort of like that. And then let's create a website based upon using GitHub. And I'll show you how good it is to use GitHub or Git or a version control system. All right, so first let's go ahead and start creating a website. Then let's get back and I'll introduce about Git first, Git later. All right, so well, I'm going to a code editor called as VS Code. This is much similar to VS Code. Well, all right, so give me a moment. I'm just adjusting the font size for you to see. All right, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to first open a folder. So to open a folder, it will ask me to select a folder. So what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly go to a particular location in my machine. And then I'll just create a new folder called as I'll just create something like this. All right. So what I'm trying to do here is I'll try to open that folder in the editor. Now the editor has been loaded with this particular folder. So what I'm trying to do here is I'll try to create a new file here, and I'll name this file as index.html. So we're going to use Bootstrap for creating the website, and that would be easiest thing we can ever do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this template. So what you have to do is you have to go to just try Bootstrap and just do a Google search for it first, and then you would open, you'd land on this page. So in the examples, you have kind of multiple designs here. So everything looks good for me, but I would like to pick up cover. So it's called as a one page. All right, so it's a one page template, but we would need trying to build multiple templates. So I'll just quickly go ahead and choose. Yeah, I'll try to choose this one. This looks kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on show page source here. So which will give me all the source complete source code of this website. So and then I'll quickly copy everything here and then go back to my editor. I'll just paste it here. All right. So, well, we got the code, and let's check this website and let's see how it looks like. So once I open this on Finder, I click on HTML and open with Safari, and let's see how it works. All right, so it doesn't really, there's a big difference from, there's a big difference from this particular website, the main website where we have copied the HTML source, and our website. So this is running on local, right? So let's see why we're facing this issue. So if we understand the source code, if we understand the HTML source, what's happening here is we got a REF. So then we have all the locations to the CSS file. So a quick introduction. So whenever you're trying to build any HTML website, you need something called as style sheets. So what's happening here is the link for the style sheet is connecting from this particular location. So basically you're trying to connect it from locally. So as we don't have, there are two ways to fix this. The first way is add CSS file to this location, or else the easiest way is to go back to our example and check the source code. See the source. Click on show page source, and here you'll have something called as network tab. And then what we're trying to look for is we're trying to look for bootstrap.min.css. So this is the file we're looking for. So there are two ways. You could simply download this or just copy the link of it and then just go back and paste it here. All right. Well, then let's check if anything is missing, but everything should work pretty fine. But there are some things which got missed. So let's go back to our local page. Let's just refresh this. Well, it works. But we have also seen this particular description after the heading was really good in the original website, but in our website, what we are working locally, it messes up. So let's see what else is missing here. So well, these are all the icons. We don't really need them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly delete these things and go. Okay, so there's something called as pricing.css, which is missing from our side. So let's go back to the original website and let's click on show page source or inspect element and go to network. All we need is this CSS file. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click copy the link. All right. And then I'm going to simply post it here. All right. Great. So let's take this out now. When I'm doing refresh, you see that everything works very well. It looks completely identical to our our local website looks very identical to the template which we're using. So I'll quickly delete, close all the template tabs. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll start modifying this templates. So the first thing what I wanted to do is I'll quickly change the title of the website to, I don't know, give me a moment. So I think this is the college, right? Okay, we'll use this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly get the name of this. Well, right. So we're going to put that in the title. And then we have something called as company name. So what I'm going to do is I'll try to put, I'll try to add just Mess Institute and let's see what would happen. All right, we got the title of it, and we'll try to quickly change the pages about us. Uh, then we'll try to quickly. There's another thing. What we can do is we can also put. Right, and then we'll change the sign up button to right. So all right, so we got some pages here. Then what's happening is we have done so many things, right? So let's say if I want to give these files to if I want to give these files to one of another developer, what would I? All right, let's quickly change this pricing thing to main title. I'll quickly write about us, and then we'll try to write here. I'm just quickly writing these things. Please don't mind if something is wrong. So, well, I quickly have wrote something on the page. Then I'll quickly change this I'll quickly change this information here to 1 second. So I'll try to write well, I'll try to include this as CSC. Then we can tell the highlights of the course. The course is offered. Just put it as IT, and then I'll quickly remove this pricing. I'm just doing some quick changes so that we can see them on the website. So when I just do a refresh, we got things ready. So, but it did break the code. So what I'm gonna do is I'll quickly remove this about us, and it should look pretty fine. Well, got it. So here we are writing about our 1 second. We have something called as 29 here. So what I'm gonna also do is I will just quickly copy this title into the CSC here, and I would write this as 120 admissions or something like that. All right. So if I'm gonna refresh this, it would look something like this. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a website here. So let's say if I got a requirement that if I need to do some changes and keep track of them, if I wanted to do some changes, and I do wanted to keep a track of them, what I need to do. So I just need to go back to my project folder, all right? And then here, what I have to do is I have to copy this Rishi folder, all right? I have to copy this Rishi folder, and then I have to just paste it again, and I have to give a message here saying that first added, I have to say backup 1 or something like that, right? And then now I have a complete snapshot of all this content. So now I'll quickly go ahead and do some other changes, such as adding this information to other sections as well. So when I do this information here, when I go back and when I hit refresh, so I got all this content, right? And then I'll get another requirement that please try to fill in the refresh this with, I mean, just change the buttons of all this to a nice content. So what I'm gonna do is I'll see, I have to check the code for sign up for free. All right, so I'll go for sign up for free. All right, and I'll just change apply. All right, also apply here and also apply here. So when I do a refresh here again, so I get all the apply pages. Now I got a requirement that they need another page to describe about as of now, I'll quickly change this title to all right. So we would need another page, all right. So when someone clicks on about us, we need to get about us. So how do you do it? And before that, the management tells me to back up this particular thing. So what I need to do again, I have to go back to the project folder again, and I have to back up from this location. And I have to say copy. Is this copy? I'm able to find. All right, copy, and then paste it. And I'm going to put it as backup 2. All right. So we have backup 1, backup 2, and Rishi. Imagine the code is really becoming, it's not good always to back up something like this. But all right, so management told us to back up, right? Do a backup. Think that. All right, think that's an arbitrary situation, but I'm just telling you. All right. So let's go ahead and create a new page. So how do you do it? It's very simple. You have to just open this. My easiest way to do it is just try to duplicate it and just rename it as aboutus.html. All right. And let's go ahead and check this, just right click on inspect element on about us. So basically it's I mean, it's an hyperlink, a href where it doesn't have any link. So let's go back to the code first. So here is the about us. So once about us is the text which is being displayed there, and if someone clicks on it, we are just doing hash. So whenever you say hash, it doesn't really happen anything here, but what you have to do is you have to say /about us here. And then let's go back to the about us page, and let's try to change the courses to about us, and we'll just delete this whole information. I'm just deleting this. I'm trying to delete this 3 boxes. All right. So what I'm trying to do here is I'll quickly go ahead and delete this container. All right. So when I just hit refresh, hit refresh, when I just hit refresh and then click on About Us. Second. Here. All right. So we haven't changed anything in the About Us. Next. So we go back to. Yeah, it should work pretty well. So what I'm going to do is, all right. So this slash issue here, forgot about it. Yeah. Select. Anyways, and when someone clicks on Rishi MS Institute, we'll try to get back to the home. So we'll go to the main logo here. I'll try to wrap this inside a H class. Sorry, A class. A. All right. So then now, we got an issue here. So I'll just quickly put it here. Then I think it should look pretty fine. Yeah. So when I hit refresh, I think I damaged the code, but anyways. Or rather than that, what I can also do is when I try to add some link here, it's trying to disturb the code. So what I'll do is I'll quickly add a home page here before the About Us. So I'll go ahead to index.html. I'll copy this line and then I'll try to change it to index.html and then just change this About Us to home. I'll try to put this to menu item code inside both the pages. All right. So now when I do a refresh, I'll get home. And then when someone clicks on About Us, we get the About Us page. So these are how things are moving on now. All right. So now the person who told me to create the website wants me to take a backup. What I'm going to do now, I have to go back to the folder. All right. And I have to just copy it again. And I have to say backup 3. Say backup. I have to say backup 3, multiple pages. All right. So, well, imagine how many backups we have. Each backup represented something. So when you checked index.html, it only represented admissions change in a single block. And then when you go back to the backup 2, it only represented all the admission changes inside all the blocks. Admission text inside all the blocks. And then when you go back to the backup 3, what's happening here is we got multiple pages. And let's say if you want to transfer all this to another developer, imagine how much hard it would be to manage all the code, all the files at once. And I wanted to give you another scenario where let's say if one developer wants to work on a single page, another developer wants to work on another page, it would be really hard for two of them to stay in a single direction or stay connected or stay synced with the files. So these kind of things would be really hard in a practical situation. All right. So let's say, I guess you guys have also faced this problem whenever you're trying to create a project, and whenever you wanted to create a backup of it. And let's say, what if all of a sudden, because of some power issues or things like that, what if my desktop or my laptop, what I'm trying to use here, gets corrupted. So I might lose the data, right? So to avoid these things, people created something called as VCS. All right. So there is something called as VCS. So it means that version control system. So basically what's happening here is, let's say initially we have created a website, right, with some features, and I'm gonna say it as one. I'm gonna give it as version 1 or something like that. All right. So it has some files in first version, and then what did we do is we tried to create, let's go back to our code. All right. So here initially we have created the first, just look into these 4 folders or 3 or 4 folders. I'm going to say it as, let's move this all files to, right. Just have a look at these 4 folders. So what I'm trying to do is, first I have created a website. All right. And then I have to get backup of it. And then I'm trying to replicate this, and I'm trying to store it as another folder and name it as a backup 2. And then I'm trying to create another folder, and I'm trying to make it as backup 3. All right. Instead of this, I have a working directory, which is Rishi. So now I have 4 directories. So let's say, if you want to give this, if someone wants to collaborate in the development, what you have to do, you have to just share all the files, right? Because he has to know how you're building the website. All right. So when you try to share all these details, he might be get confused that, what would be the real working folder, until and unless you name it correctly. All right. And let's say if management will tell you, or if someone wants to tell you to quickly go back or quickly revert back to any of the changes, it would be really hard for you to do it, because you have to manually look into the code and see what changes I have done. This would be really hard for you to proceed. Give me a moment. So in simple words, what I'm trying to tell you is, it would be very hard for us to do the changes locally on the computer without really having any sort of version control system. All right. So the best way and easiest way to get started with the virtual control system, one of thing we have in the market right now is called as Git. So Git is a version control system which support many features. So we'll just quickly look into all the features one by one by doing another quick website. All right. So before that, we'll look into how to install Git on your machines. So the website is called as Git. One second. Search for Git. So when you search for Git, what happens is you land on this particular website. So just click on download and just install that on your machines. So once you install Git, and once you go back to the terminal, and when you type Git, you'll get an output something like this. So which means that Git is installed on your machines. So rather than giving you the basics, I'll quickly go ahead and start using Git on GitHub, and I'll tell you the greatest advantages of working with Git. All right. So to be very clear, Git is a version control system which will have Git is a version control system which can maintain multiple snapshots of code where you can simply revert back to any point of time and have multiple backups of a single code. And let's say if you want to share this code to another developer, you upload your entire code repo or Git repo to a website called as GitHub. You know, GitHub is one of the website where people just upload their code bases and they'll just collaborate for the development. And there are many websites which do the same. There is another website called as GitLab which also does pretty much same. All right, so there is another website called as Bitbucket which also does the same. So these are all the websites where they host all your repos, and any of your friend can easily, collaborate to your work. So we'll see how we can get started with all of these. Pretty much if you learn a single thing, everything looks very fine. So in our day-to-day life, we developers use this extensively to keep the backups to collaborate with all our developers. All right. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'll quickly go ahead and I'll say, when I open github.com, I'll click on new, and then it will ask me to choose a template. All right, so this template is all about, using an existing repository, which which we are not going to use here. And it will ask for the repository name, repo, in short words, you could also say repo name. So I'm going to say it as, all right. And there are two ways to restrict your code base. The first thing is, just like all your Facebook posts or Instagram posts, you could publish this repo into a public mode where anyone can see it. Or if you want to stay protect, or if you want to keep it as a private thing, you could also choose private. Once you choose private, no one can see your repo. And then once I click start creating the repo, I'll get some commands. So these commands are pretty much useful for you to publish your code to GitHub, all right? Or simply Git, but this Git is inside the GitHub, all right? So what I'm going to do here is I'll quickly go back to another, I'll go to another window here, all right? I'll get into a new folder called as projects. Here, what I'll do is I'll say mkdir Rishi website. I'll cd do Rishi website. All right. And then what we can do here is they gave us some commands, right? So before I really get into all these commands, I'll quickly tell you, what really happens here. So when I do ls alt, you can see that there are nothing inside this folder. So I'll also show you in the GUI. So there is nothing inside the folder now. So what I'll do is I'll say touch which will create a file for me. So when you do ls alt, you will see that file here, right? And also inside your projects directory too. All right, so you got the index.html. So how do you edit it? You could simply open that in any of the editor. Or I'll open that folder here. Right, so here is the file. Now, this is a local directory. And if you go back to your repo, if you go back to the repo, and if you check this, if you check your repo, a GitHub repo, it looks empty. It says, you know, if you're getting this screen, which means that the repo is empty. So the best way what you can do is you have to initiate this repo with git. So to do that, you have to say git init. All right. So it says initialized empty git repo, empty git repo in this location. And then what you have to do is you have to say git add. You have to give the file name. This is how you add it. This is how you add a file to the to your repo. Instead of that, if you want to add all files, you could simply say a single dot. Now, when you do this, this file has been added to your repo. And then what you have to do is for each change, whatever you make in the code base, there is something called as commit. So let's say if you have what I'm going to give a commit message called as git commit, and you have to give -m, and then you have to write created the file. You'll put a commit something like this, and when you press OK, what would happen is while one file changed, 0 insertions and 0 deletion. So this particular file has been added to the repo. Sorry, added to the repo and committed as a change. And then now what we'll do is we'll look back to some other commands here. It has to say you have to add an origin to your repo. So what is an origin again? So let's say you could work locally without using GitHub on your machines using any version control system, and share your code to your friends where they can easily collaborate with you. But let's say if you want to collaborate with your friends using GitHub in online, you have to define your remote repo URL, which we have created in the beginning. So what I'll do is I'll simply copy this code, and I'll go back here, and I'll just quickly paste it here. And what's happening here is this particular URL has been defined as origin to this particular Git repo. All right. And then what you have to say is you have to say git push. So what it does is this particular command will push all your commits to the remote repo. So what's happening here? It says the current branch master has no upstream. So the current branch master has no upstream branch. So you're getting this error because there are something called as branches in GitHub. So we'll discuss about that later. But for now, just try to copy the entire thing. I wanted to did this error to tell you what's really happening here. Copy this, I paste it here. It says that branch master has set to the track remote branch master from origin, and then it has sent some files to the remote repo. All right. So when you go back to the GitHub now, when you refresh your repo, you'll notice that you can see index.html here, and you have seen there is something called as commit here. So when you click on commit, it says 2 minutes ago, Pranay has created file here. So when you click on that, it will show you the clear changes. Now let's start doing some real things. So let's go back to our code, our index.html page. I'll try to write. I'm trying to create the complete a simple website now here. So now what I have to do is, all right, so if you want to see a preview of it, well, let's quickly do a preview onto Safari, sorry, any browser. So it's simply saying that it's under development, right? All right, so let's do this. Let's push the changes now. As you have modified something, what you have to do is you have to again say git add. You have where you can keep track of the files. All right, it's called as git add. You have to add that to your once you do this, it gets added. Then you have to say git commit, and you give a commit message. The commit message would be add a title and body, add sorry head with title and body with h1 tag. All right, and then I have to simply say push, git push. So just remember three commands here. The first command is git add. The second command is git commit, where you're just when you say git add, you're just adding the modified file here. And then git commit, where you are committing the changes what you have done latestly. And then you're saying git push, which will push all your changes to the remote repo, which is located in GitHub. So when you go back to your repo again, and when you hit a refresh, you would notice that the commit message has been shown in the Git repo. So when you click on commits here, you would see two commits. The first commit is when you created a new file, and then the next commit is all about added head with title, body with h1 tag. All right, so these are all, the plus symbol indicates that you have added these information to this particular file. I mean, these are the new lines returned to this file. So I'll go back to my web page. What I will do here is I'll change under dev to under construction. And then what I'm trying to do here is I'll say quickly git add, then git commit, change the h1 tag, and then git push. All right, so now the changes have been pushed to the repo. When I go back and when I hit refresh, you have seen the new change, new commit. So when I click on this commit message, it clearly told me that these number of lines have been removed. The red color indicate that these lines have been removed, and this number of lines are being added to the repo now. All right. So these are some basic things which we discussed. I'm going to write in notes about it so that you would see what we have done so far. All right. So then let's do it now. All right. So first we have created a Git repo. GitHub, and then we have created a new folder. And we got into that folder. Inside that folder, I told that git init, which initializes this folder with the git. All right, and then what I did there, I simply added some files. Let's say if you have some files in this folder, what you have to do is you have to say git add dot. This dot indicates that you're adding all the files to this folder, and then you have to say git commit. This changes will whenever you add a new change and when you do git add, this will keep the track of modified files. And then when you do git commit, what would happen is this modified files have committed to a particular snapshot. And then when I say git push, what would happen here is all the files or all the commits will be pushed to the remote repo. So in simple words, my suggestion would be for you is, if you're a beginner, the thing what you have to remember a lot is whenever you do a change, you have to say git add dot, and then if whenever you wanted to commit or keep a snapshot of those all changes, you have to say git commit m changes, or basically m stands for, whenever you want to give the message, you put -m, and in the codes you try to give the name of the commit, what changes you have done. And then what you have to do is you have to say git push. These are the major commands which we use daily to utilize the benefit of GitHub. Git or version control system. So here's the important thing, and that would be the last topic. It's called as branches. So I'll quickly show you a practical thing what's happening with some of our work. So we've been building a website for one of the educational institutes in Kenya. So what's happening here is, one second. One second, friends. I'm trying to show you something here. All right. So this is a mobile application project which we are working recently. So what's happening here is, in simple words, there are something called as branches. All right. So what is a branch? So let's say we're trying to build this website, right? So in this website, if you want to have 2 pages, let's give 2 pages here first. Another page. So when I just refresh this, it has 2 pages. All right. So the idea now is to, if you have 2 developers, the first developer will work on page 1 and the next developer will work on page 2. So how you can go ahead in this scenario using your Git? So the best and easiest way is to create 2 branches. All right. So I'll try to show you in the a pictorial way. So you have to, the idea is to collaborate between the 2 developers by creating the 2 pages and by using the Git. So to go ahead with this scenario, what you have to do is you have to maintain branches for page 1 and you will maintain a branch for page 2. Once the complete work is done, you will merge all these branches to the master branch. Master branch in the sense, whenever you start creating a repo, all the changes you have written or will be in the master branch. All right. So these are, you can collaborate with multiple developers. So let's quickly do that here now. So I'll first commit all the changes what I have done so far. So we got 2 pages. 2 pages have been committed to the master branch now. So when I look into the GitHub, in the repo which we have created recently, so now the latest commit message says that we have added 2 pages, right? So now what I'll do is I'll create a new branch. I'll say git check out, and you have to do -b and give the branch name. I would say page 1. All right. It told that I have switched to a new branch. All right. Now I'll say git checkout page 1, which will switch me to the earlier my branch was master. Now I switched to the page 1. So here what I'll do is I'll create a new file called as page1.html, and then I'll quickly edit that page1.html. All right, then I'm adding this to the repo, git add page 1. I just wanted to add this to repo, and then I'll say git commit new page, added a new page, and then I'll say git push to origin / our branch name is page 1. So what I'll say, I'll push something and I'll get a message, just push to set upstream origin page 1. All right, so we'll just change the upstream now. All right, so it said that it has created a new branch. So when I go back here, so you have something called as, when you click on branches, you have something called as page 1. In the page 1, you would see 2 files, but in the master, you would only see 1 file. So I'll quickly change my branch to master again now. So how do you change it? You have to say git checkout master. Now you switch your branch to master, and here what I'll do is I'll say touch page2.html, and I'll say nano. I'll add this change. I'll commit this change then. I'll just push it. All right, so now when you go back to the GitHub, when you just refresh, you would see page 2 in master branch, and you would see page 1 in page 1 branch. You seeing this? Okay. So when you open index.html, it has page 1. When someone clicks on page 1, it takes them to page 1.html. When someone clicks on page 2, it takes them to the page 2.html. But in the page 1 branch, we only have page 1.html, but in the master branch, we have page.html. Now imagine that if 2 people are working here, let's say if someone is working on page 1, they would simply change their branch to page 1 and start working just on this particular page. And then another developer will be working on the master branch, and they will be working on this page 2. So if there are 10 number of developers, everyone can work on each one of their own branch, or they can also work in two or three persons can work on a single branch. And once everything is done, they'll do something called as merging. So they'll merge both the branches. So how do they do merging? So as I'm in master branch, what I'll do is I'll say git merge master branch with page what's that, page 1. So it will say that please enter a commit message why the branch necessary, sorry, why the merge is necessary. So I'll say that pages, all right, and then you have to say colon, then okay. So there was a problem with VI, no worries. You have concluded your branch head exists. So the both the branches are not merging because we have some commit messages. We have some commits left. So what I have to do is I have to check, I have to go back to, well, let's check that if it's happening or not. We have commits ready here. We also have commits. Okay. So the system is telling me when I'm trying to do a merge, it says that you have not concluded your merge heads exist. And you have to commit your changes before you merge. So what I'll do is I'll say git commit again. And then I'll click on merge up to date. So which means that the merging happened, but somehow when we're trying to mess up with, when I tried to add some changes to this commit message, so there's something wrong here. So now let's go back to our repo and check if the files have been updated or not. So if you look now in the master, we have 2 pages. All right, because the master has been, so in the master, we have merged with the page 1. If you go back to the page 1, you would only see the only page 1, but in the master, we have 2 pages. When you click on branches now here, you would see what are the 2 branches we have. Basically, these are the things, what's happening in the real world. But again, I'll give you a quick, easiest thing or easy explanation about what Git is, what it does. All right. So basically, Git is a version control system. So it keeps track of all the changes, whatever you're doing in your source code. Let's say if you're working on a project and if you're doing so many changes on it, for each changes, if you're doing git commit, it will keep a track of all the changes. Just like, you know, we are working on so many projects. So we work on so many projects. So if I take any of the example here, and when I look into the commits, so basically we take care of so many comments here. So sorry, we have so many comments here. So when I click on a commit message, it clearly tells me what are the changes we have done on that particular commit. So this is how we can keep a commit of changes what we're doing. Okay, so that's what I'm saying about keep track of all the changes. All right, so for a version control system, we are using something called as Git. All right, so basically whenever you create a particular project and you do some modifications in that, you can call it as a version 1 or something like that, right? And then if you want to put a snapshot of this version, all right, if you want to put a snapshot of this version, you'll simply commit it. So how do you commit it? Three main commands: git add, where you add all the files, and then you say git commit, where you give a commit message, and then what you'll do, you'll put git push. So this is the way you commit something. All right. So after a few days, you have done another changes, and you call it as version 1, something like that. You know, this is just a simple example, but we don't generally do like this. But I'm, to your understanding, I'm doing something like this. You do a version 1 here, and then you commit something here again. All right. And later on, you one of your friend wants to work on some other files, and he's calling it as version 2 or something like that. And then you both are working on these 2 branches at once. So at one point of time, what you'll do here is I'll write this as branch 1 first, so that it won't get confused. This is the master branch. And then one of your friend wants to work on some set of features which are completely new, or which are completely which has to be worked independently. Then I would say you know, he creates a branch for it. And then after a few days, what you will do is you will simply merge these 2 branches at once. All right. And then this new branch, will have, or else you could simply, you know, merge to any branch. So I'll say master. This 2 branch will have the features of version 1 and also the version 2. All right. So basically, and at any point of time, you can easily revert back to any point of this version. All right. So, well, another thing I want to tell you is in GitHub, you would find amazing libraries. So I'll quickly search for one library here. Sorry, one repo here. So if you want to start working on this particular repo, what you have to do is you have to say, you have to copy this URL, and in your terminals, you have to say git clone, and that particular project or repo gets cloned into your machine. And then you could literally do, you know, as it is a public repo, you could also do changes to this, such as you could literally, if you see anything wrong in this code, or if you want to improve this, you could go to any code. So we have so many files here, right? So I'll quickly go to readme.markdown file. So in this, if you want to suggest any changes, you could say, if I want to suggest this as, what shall we do? All right. So if I don't want to use fo dot, I'll add another O here. All right. And if you want to suggest the change, what you have to do, you have to say git add, and then git commit. You would say git push. All right. So as we are working on the master branch, as if you are suggesting anything to an open source project, I would suggest you to create a fork. Here there is something called as fork, where the entire repo will be created as a, I would say, kind of a branch, but not really a branch, but it's a kind of clone to this entire project, but in your account. And when you start suggesting the changes, you could say them that, hey, I have implemented so many changes. You could start merging your project with mine, and that's how the open source collaboration happened. So this Git has really changed the world. So if you noticed, Windows, Macintosh, these operating systems are completely proprietary. which means that no one have the source code for it. But if you look into a project called as Linux, that particular project is completely open source, which means that anyone in this world can have an access to the source code of Linux, and they can contribute their own ideas or features to that particular code base. I know to do this, to make this happen, the only reason was using Git. So without Git, today there won't be any kind of major projects such as Django, such as Linux. These are all powered by the Git. All right. So another thing is, I have a nice website. So we'll quickly have a walk down or the overview of the things what we discussed today. So first we have to set up it, and then you have to create a new repo by using this command. Then you have to check out. You can check out in two ways. So using the clone, which we have discussed here, and we have also cloned it using the command. So these are you clone it. All right. Or if you want to use SSH, you could also use this way. And then this is the most important thing. So what's happening is we have a workflow for the Git. So let's say, whenever you try, there is something called as working directory, and there is something called as index, and there is something called as head. So what's happening is when you're working on something, and when you add it, it moves to the index, and when you commit it, it moves to the head. So all the commits will stay in the head. And let's say when you're working again on something and adding that, it becomes into the index stage. So this is the workflow. You can just simply look into it once you get time. And then once you do some changes, when you propose some changes, you have to say git add the file name or give git add star. And then you would say git commit, and this git commit, and all the changes are committed to the head. And then when you want to publish or push the changes, you have to say git push origin master. Or if this particular thing is already set, you have to just say git push. And at last, if you want to work on multiple branches, and if you want to create a branch, you have to say git checkout -b, and you'll give the name for it. And if you want to switch back to the previous branch or master branch, you have to say git checkout master. If you want to delete the branch again, you could also say git branch -d, and you could give the name of it. And lastly, if you want to push any branch, you should say git push origin, and you have to give the branch name here. And this is all about merging, which we also discussed at the last. So when you say git pull, all the changes which are in the remote repo, the latest changes in the remote repo are pulled out to your local repo. And then if you want to merge your local changes or your current branch with any of the branch which you mentioned, you should say this. All right. And there is something called as tag. All right. So let's say if you're doing a major software release, and if you want to if you want to put a tag for it, you would say git tag as something version. And this particular thing, the first 10, this stands for the first 10 characters of the commit ID, what you want to reference your tag with. All right. So let's say if you're releasing the version 1 in a commit. So we have so many commit messages right here. So there are some commit. I'll just quickly open this, and you'll get the idea of it. So we get the this is the commit ID. So this is the commit ID. So here the first 10 characters you have to reference here, so that you can tag that commit to a particular version, or you could also this can be anything. You're tagging this particular version to a commit, and this is the commit ID. The first 10 letters will be a reference. All right. And there is something called as log, which gives information about all the changes or all the commit message which have been done so far. So if we go back to our project which we worked today, and if I go to Rishi website, and if I would say git log, it will give me all the information, such as the first commit message was at June 13, 11:43, and then the second commit was around 40. All right, and this another branch. All right, this was at 11:38, 36, and something like that. The latest would be on the top. All right, going bottom, you will see all the old messages. To exit out of this, you have to say quit. So that's all about log. And if you want to replace the local changes, these are the things. So I'll just quickly change you this link in the chat window, and you can reference that in the chat. So I don't know where I can see the chat. Okay, here's the chat window. So, all right, so you have some questions, right? I'll quickly get into the questions.
So the question, sir, the first question is, in any version of Windows, can we install Git?
Yeah.
Pranay, we have received around 15 questions.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is, I will send you the questions document, and you can give us the detailed answer in that, so that we can dispatch with the certificates.
Okay. I can sort of these questions here and here itself rather than a document, because everyone can.
All right.
All right.
There are 15, so I'm just looking at, and if you're okay with the time, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll quickly put up all these.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.
Ma'am, please proceed.
Yeah.
All right.
Second question, does Git can be used in any type of OS?
Yeah, it can be used on any type of operating system. So in Windows specifically, if you want to use Git, you have to get a kind of terminal. I don't remember the terminal, but I'd say Windows bash shell. So you have to enable this Linux bash shell, and then you can quickly get, just follow this, and after that you can quickly get that terminal on Windows as well, and then you can. That's one way. And another way is if you're on Windows 7 or less than that, there is a program, I don't remember, but it's called as so there's a new project. I guess this should also work. All right, so what's the third question? Can we build any type of websites using Git? Yes, you could literally build any kind of website using Git. Yeah. Which language is used in GitHub? You could almost use any language you want to use in GitHub. GitHub is basically a kind of, I would say it's a hub for all the repos, and everyone can simply upload their repo to the GitHub, and they can collaborate with all the developers around the world. So there is no limitation to which language you want to use. All right. And then just Git supports PHP as well. It supports all the languages. Is Git helpful in making real-time projects? A lot. We've been using Git right from our beginning. And trust me, it was so helpful for us in situations where clients say us to go back to a particular change, and we don't need to undo our code, but we'll simply check out previous commit messages. So one of the things where we really enjoyed with Git is we have so many repos, right? Sorry, we have we worked on some projects, right? So in these projects, when you look into let's say if you're building on this project, we have so many commit messages. So we have these commit messages, right? So if client asks us to revert back to any of the change, we would simply copy that commit message ID, and we would revert all our code base to that particular snapshot of time, I would say. Yeah. So that's how it was really helpful for us. And another important thing is our team is remotely situated around the country, sometimes around the world. So Git really helped us to stay connected with each other in terms of code, in terms of communications and things like that. So it's really useful. What languages are to be learned before learning GitHub? Trust me, there is nothing you have to learn GitHub. You could literally learn it without having any knowledge of any programming language. It's you could also keep track of your files in GitHub as well, such as, let's say, if you want to keep track of a folder, you could also do that in GitHub. All right. So, ma'am, do you have any other questions? Or
Yes, sir.
well,
When
yeah.
we change the project or programming, can it affect the Git any point of time?
When we change the project or programming, can it affect? Not really. It won't. It won't affect. Yeah.
Is GitHub is used to store data?
Okay. So we have something called as GitHub Premium. I would not say premium, but I don't remember the name of it. One second. Give me a moment. So there is something called as GitHub Plus, I guess. Okay. So GitHub here, what's here is free for everyone. But let's say if you want to have some additional features, and there is a storage limit for every repo. So if you want to store data, you can store it, but there is a limitation for the account. If you want, you can use it to store data, but you have to make sure that you're not crossing the limit. So it will clearly mention that there is a limit. Okay, see, it has 500 MB for GitHub packages storage. So you can't store beyond that in the free plan. If you want to upgrade it, you have to get into any of the plan, then you can upgrade it. That's how you can do it. So what are the disadvantages of GitHub? I am not willing to say it here, but I would say GitHub itself is owned by Microsoft. So in open source world, people are not really willing anymore to stay in touch with this website. Rather than that, they are preferring something called as GitLab, which is kind of not proprietary or something like that. So, or else what they really do is they have their own instance of Git installed in their servers. So basically GitHub, I would say GitHub is a software which can be installed on any of their servers. So GitHub, I would say there are disadvantages such as you can't, and before like a month ago, the main disadvantage would be you can't add more than 3 collaborators for a private repo. But now it is open for unlimited number of collaborators for unlimited number of private repos. This, I would not say any more disadvantages, but only disadvantage or I see is it's a proprietary thing. Is next question is GitHub used in code language? What's the use of GitHub? And again, this question, the main thing, what I would say is, let's say I would say open source is really good for a healthy community. So let's say if you share your code with someone, chances are more that the code will become more benefit by adding inputs of others. So GitHub is a place where everyone comes to that location and uploads their code and make it open source, so that they can get more collaborators and they can all work together in that sort of thing. That's the use of GitHub. One use, and then you could work with remotely with all your friends across the world, having multiple snapshots of the code. These are the benefits of Git, but Git enables you to connect remotely around the world with the developers. So what's the major difference between other languages and GitHub? GitHub is not a language. To be very specific, GitHub is just a place, you could say, is a marketplace where you can upload all your code, collaborate with your friends. And what is this speciality of GitHub compared to other platforms like cloud computing? So, these two platforms cannot be compared, but the question would be something like this. What the specialty of GitHub compared with Bitbucket and GitLab? These are very similar platforms, so you can compare them. So it's up to the choice where you can choose GitHub or Bitbucket. They don't have any kind of specific advantages. And the next question is all about why should one learn GitHub? All right. So in today's world, if you want to become a developer, the principal thing is learn about Git, how you can manage multiple versions of your software and have a proper documentation, or marking your changes, committing your changes, because once you learn a proper way to organize your code, a proper way to back up your code, I would say keep the snapshots of this. These things are very useful to in your career, especially when you're working with someone. All right, so can you use Android version? In any cases, there are many like Git best for software. All right, I didn't really understand the question. What's the difference between Git and GitHub? So Git is a version control system, and GitHub is a place where you see multiple Git repositories. All right, Git can work on locally, where your friends can simply share the repo, but GitHub can't be without internet connection. If you have internet connection, you can once you keep your changes, you have to publish it to GitHub. So basically, Git is a software, I would say, a version control system, and GitHub uses Git as a version control system and connects everyone around the world. Is Git free of cost? Yeah, it is free of cost. There are plans to pay for it. And what else, ma'am? Are these only questions? We have other questions.
Yes, sir. Can we install GitHub in the phone?
Yeah.
Pranay sir has some technical glitches. You can start off with the thank you note.
Okay. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Rishi Institution, I really extended a hearty vote of thanks to you for your presence in this webinar. This surely going to help us a lot in future and will encourage us to move in the new dimensions of education and technology. I would also thank all the participants of the webinar for taking out time and participating in such a huge number. Thank you. I would request all the participants to give their valuable feedback through the link being shared in the chat box. We will also be sharing the e-certificate with you soon. With this, we come to the end of this wonderful session. Hope that we have many more such sessions upcoming. Your presence, indeed, we are waiting for your presence. Thank you. Thanks a lot.